will now recognize Senator Alma Francis Heyliger. Senator Alma Francis Heyliger, you may proceed with your 3 minutes.
Good morning, colleagues. Good morning to the testifiers. Good morning to the people of the Virgin Islands. And good morning to Ms. Renakwa, Lieutenant Renakwa Russell. I want to thank everyone for really coming here to share all this positive information about a Virgin Islander that has done so many things in her short lifetime. One of the things that I have recognized as my colleague was tossing out adjectives, and one of the words that even my office and myself has been utilizing for our slogan is the word determined. And it is a wonderful word because sometimes as individuals, when you set your mind, when you set goals for yourself, when you are determined to accomplish things, there's nothing stops you when you want to get that thing done. And like Renakwa said, just do it. Sometimes we feel we have obstacles in our way. Sometimes we feel we can't get it accomplished. But if we focus, if we push forward, and if we recognize that at the end of that tunnel is the goal that we're looking towards to get to, guess what? With determination, it will be done. So I would like to say congratulations to you as a Virgin Islander, as the first African-American, African-Caribbean Black woman to get this accomplishment. We are very proud of you here in this territory. I remember from the days, because I have worked in this institution for 22 years, many a days I would see you, and sometimes even you and your brother coming when your dad was over here in St. Thomas. You would always be around the legislature. And I always thought it was a good thing when you see young people grow up from a young age. Yes, sometimes I'm like, I'm getting older, but at the end of the day, it was a blessing to see what you have transitioned into. And as a Virgin Islander, as a woman, as a Black woman, I am very proud of your accomplishments. I always used to think it was cute, and this is just my own little sidebar, your name, because I used to chuckle and say, you know, I always thought it was a cute thing when parents would combine their names to name their children, because I always assumed the Ron for Renakwa was from Ronald and the Aqua was from Aquanet. So I said that was a good combination. So you definitely will be doing great things in life like you have. And once again, I am proud of your accomplishments, and I look forward to this resolution getting all 15 of us in support. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Senator Alma Francis Heyliger. Senator Alma Francis Heyliger, you are recognized to proceed with your 4 minutes of questioning.
Point of inquiry. Before I start my testimony, I have a point of inquiry.
I'm sorry, Senator Heyliger, you are recognized for your 4 minutes. Senator Javon James had a call to make, so I had to skip over him. So please go forward and proceed with your 4 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Question to the chair, Mr. Anthony Thomas. The question I was trying to call out in regards to the point of inquiry, does WAPA has the authority to encumber bills without getting the rate set in order to pay for them? Because we keep having this conversation in regards to them having bills, but from my knowledge, and I need for you to correct me if I'm wrong, if they only authorize up to $87 million, and you on your own went back and renegotiated and encumbered additional funding, do you have the authority to do that without knowing where this money is going to come from?
Well, the short answer is no, but for your question, the authority has not collected more than 87 million because only rates that could collect 87 million is what has been prescribed by the PSC. If you're asking me what happened in the past, I don't know, I was not there, so I can't speak to that. But the rates that was proposed and approved by the PSC amounted to 87 million. That is what has been collected, nothing more. That's all the WAPA has collected.
I understand that. That is the point I'm trying to get to. It was authorized for a maximum of 87 million because that is what the project was originally proposed for. So you went, requested the amount to match up to the project. Now, without the knowledge or consent to increase rates for additional monies, it was renegotiated. Now, this payment doubled, but there was no discussion with the PSC to even see that if you even had the authority to go ahead and double this bill, because you didn't get permission to get the rates, to get the funding to do it in the first place. And then on top of that, well, let me finish, sir. On top of that, I also want to get information in regards to the settlement that was discussed, I think, at another hearing. How did you get monies, or that? How do you even realize that you could have this amount of monies to even make a settlement for, I believe, was it over $200 million with this same company, Vital, without discussing that with the PSC? Because the only way to get those monies is they would have to approve those rates. Could you explain that to me?
I can't explain to you what I do not know. I was not here prior to this discussion, so I can't tell you what discussions was had or wasn't had with the PSC. All I can say to you is that only $87 million has been realized by the authority due to the rates that exist. I was not here during the time of the plan, so I can't speak to that.
Thank you so much. But this is my question again. If you are, and this is the direct example of why I am a firm believer and advocate of not just throwing people on these boards and putting them over to manage them. This is a critical utility in the Virgin Islands. And the only response I'm getting out of you is you don't know. When as the chairman, you should know. That is the problem. You have to know. You cannot constantly come to this institution and tell us I wasn't here before. At some point, it is your responsibility to catch up, to understand, to gather this information, because it is critical to doing that job. And that is my problem. Now, I'm going to ask the PSC quickly. When there was a discussion the other day, and I also wrote about it in a letter. When you give an order, Madam Chair, could I just finish my question? Madam Chair?
Yes, you may wrap up.
Thank you. When the PSC gives an order to WAPA, and I'm getting responses from the PSC as if the WAPA is basically ignoring them or willy-nilly doing something. How does that work? Because an order was given to WAPA that any person whose bill that they are guesstimating, they do not have the right to disconnect them. But apparently that keeps happening. When you give an order to this institution, WAPA, why do they feel at times they don't have the right to potentially even follow it? And do you think that this bill can assist with some of those issues? Thank you very much.
I'll speak and then I'll let Commissioner Hughes speak to that fact. The Public Services Commission, in the court case that was stated in the testimony of Mr. Hodge, the court stated that the Public Services Commission can only set rates. And only the legislature that was left out of his testimony, only the legislature can change that. We give orders, we provide orders, and WAPA has not followed many of the orders that we have given. They followed some, but they're not followed many. And without the authority to enjoin and allow WAPA to follow those orders, as Chairman Hughes says, we don't have a statutory authority to make WAPA do anything. Nothing. Chairman Hughes?
Yeah, just to add to that, I mean, 50 years of supposed regulation by the PSC. This is the least regulated utility in the United States. And I think the results speak for themselves. There is no practical regulation of this authority. I don't want to pretend that the PSC is an effective body against WAPA. We don't have enforcement capability. That's part of the provisions of this bill as well. I would also like to make the senator aware, to her earlier question of Mr. Thomas, there was actually a provision in the original contract with VTOL. It was intended to protect the authority against these same increases, these massive increases in cost, whereby the authority, prior to actually consulting the PSC and obtaining rate approvals, would not have to accept those increases, nor would it have to accept the inception of payments under this contract. The authority, in its renegotiation of that contract, waived that provision inexplicably. I don't have an answer as to why. You might, I don't know, call former Director Hodge and ask him why he did so. But that was an important thing that did not come back before the PSC in answer to your earlier question. Thank you, Senator.
Oh wow. Thank you so much. I was not aware of that little fact. So we basically messed our own self up by people going in and altering a contract that had a critical component to protect us, and we just said, oh, just throw it out the window. Now the people of this territory are suffering because of it.
Excuse me, Senator.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Your time has been called. I have exhibited an extraordinary amount of leeway, so I thank you kindly for that.
Point of inquiry.
You're recognized, Senator Alma Francis Heyliger, for your point of inquiry.
Through the chair, I would like to understand the procedure in regards to an amendment. I have not seen this amendment, and as a member of this committee, it was not circulated, as two of the members are here in this chamber, and it would not have been in my best interest or to represent the people of this territory to vote on something I have never laid my eyes on. Thank you.
I understand that this amendment was circulated via email to all senators, and they have an opportunity to review it. I will not be entertaining additionally, it was read in the record, and we spoke about it coming forward during the questioning of the testifiers. So it would have been timely if you had not received it to notify the staff, as others have done, and we would have gotten it to you post haste. Thank you kindly.
Of information. Can I please get information in regards to the procedure of amendments to be circulated on the floor? Sending me something via email, which I may or may not have gotten. I'm asking specifically as it relates to the rules of items to be circulated on the floor to all senators in order for them to be voted on. Thank you.
Is this a question of the order? Because if not,
yes.
it's stated quite clearly in our rules. So this is out of order. We are moving on with the next item, and your issue is duly noted. Thank you. I want to give the Senator Alma Francis Heyliger, you're recognized for your 7 minutes of questioning.
Good afternoon. How are you? Good afternoon to my colleagues. Good afternoon to the testifiers and to the listening audience. First, I want to start off with my questioning in regards to marketing. Do you focus any type of marketing when it comes to potential festivals to larger markets? For example, India, China, areas that have a large population.
So thank you, Senator Heyliger. So that's kind of some of the reason why we have, our independent sales individual to help us reach some of those markets. I know one of the initiatives that we're working on is reaching out to what's called like the French soca lovers, or the African. There's an Afrobeats group that loves to go to various carnivals So these are initiatives that we're working on. Of course, it's a pandemic, so we're not able to necessarily visit these places directly right now per se. But the plan is definitely in the future to reach out to those markets. I know one of the things that we did during the virtuals was actually advertise in the Europe area, in the European corridor. Promoting to Denmark, promoting to England, promoting to France. And we got some responses, we got some engagement. So I definitely agree with your point of view. And it is something that is in the works. But again, it goes back to, in order for me to have the leverage to do some of that, we need a slightly increased budget to go to those markets.
To ultimately work on it.
Repeat, I missed your question.
I want to ask I said as of right now it's not being done, but ultimately it's something in the making.
Yes, definitely, Senator.
Thank you. As it relates to projection, have you guys, since this specific division has been developed, have you guys done any type of assessment as it relates to the potential projected revenues? I know my previous speaker, the previous caller, the previous senator had alluded to getting some budget information. Have you done any projections in regards to potential revenues?
No, we have not. And that is mainly because we only hosted one live festival. So I think it would be unfair for us to do projections without having a full picture of St. Thomas and St. John as well. So we have St. Croix. We saw uptick in our efforts to St. Croix's economy.
Hold on one second.
But
a projection is just what it says, a projection. It's future. So to depend on one thing happening, when I say projections, I'm talking, for example, you're just planning to open a business. The business doesn't exist. You haven't done anything, but you have done some sort of projection as to potentially the types of revenues that this business can bring in. That is what I'm asking you. Has any of this been done?
We have not done a projection. Again, we would like to get a baseline. If you have a baseline, then when you execute your projection specifically for the business that we're in, we want to be able to make projections from.
Carnival has been around for over 50 plus years. So there's quite a bit of data and information that we could have utilized as groundwork with it being shifted over to this new festival division. So I would have, at least from my perspective, this is not a new business we're going into. It's a different structure, but the business and the model already exist. So, but I understand you're saying you haven't done anything as yet. What funding would you think is ideal, in your opinion, to fund your division to do the very best that you can, even though you don't know what your best is because you don't have a projection?
I would clearly feel that $4 million would be effective in being able to allow us to, one, execute each carnival or festival in an effective manner, and then two, also be able to host other events, because I know that that's one of the things that's mandated to the Division of Festivals, to be able to host not just the main carnivals and festivals. In order to do that, I can't do that with what's on the table. And okay. I fully concur with you, and I'll actually make it my business to work on on projections, but we really want to have a baseline.
Yeah, it's kind of funny to just toss out $4 million without really knowing what the potential that $4 million could bring in, But thank you to the testifiers. I want to jump into some housekeeping quickly before my time is up. Earlier during the day, we were dealing with the vote of an amendment. And as a member of this committee, I was not afforded the ability to even see that amendment. I was told when I asked about the circulation on the floor that It was read into the record by another senator. I was told I should have checked my email. And I was also told to go check the rules, which I did.
1 minute.
And when I did so, the rules that was adopted by this 34th legislature, where we all came into this chambers and voted on, which makes it legally binding, stated that an amendment must bear a stamp showing the amendment was requested at the office of the Legislative Legal Counsel at least 48 hours before the time of the amendment is offered and must be distributed to each senator at least 24 hours before the time the amendment is offered. Now, after I was told to go check my email, I went downstairs and scoured through my junk mail, my clutter, my inbox, and I found nothing. I went to the extra step to ask my colleague here, whose staff happened to got an email at 10:34 this morning while we were sitting here in this chamber, that this email came in with this amendment. Apparently nowhere in this email is my office attached to be CC'd. So I'm going to ask the question again. The amendment that I was disenfranchised at to even vote on because I never got it, I never saw it, is it even legally binding at this point? Because based on our own rules, it was not distributed within 24 hours. And the only copy that I see here was sent out at 10:34 to an email to another senator's office. And I need legal counsel or either through the chair to give me some response, because I take my job very seriously as a member of this committee. And if I do not have the tools, do not have the information, and do not have the very necessary paperwork so I can vote on things, I am very, very upset about this. So I'm asking you to please give me some clarity legally. Through the chair.
There's a point of inquiry. Thank you so much, Ms. Senator Frances Heyliger. There is a point of inquiry on this side of the waters from Senator Franklin. Senator Frances Heyliger, you're recognized for your point of inquiry. Kindly state it on the record.
Thank you. Good afternoon once again, Madam Chair. I'm going to ask one more time for legal sufficiency. And I clearly read our rules, and you have not answered me because I asked if you, as the chairperson, can get legal counsel to explain to me how I, as a member of this committee, who was not distributed an amendment that was not sent out to me within the 24-hour period, I have never seen it, that I should be disenfranchised as a member of this institution as well as a member of this committee to not do my job by not getting an amendment. An amendment was sent to my colleague via email at 10:34 this morning. That is the first time he ever saw it. That is outside of the 24-hour period. I, another member of this committee, am sitting here. I never got it. So I'm asking you legally, how do we resolve this? Thank you.
Thank you so much, Senator Frances Heyliger. And your point of inquiry is duly noted. We will do our very best to try to address it before the end of the meeting today, but if we do not, please know I would definitely follow up on it for you. Thank you kindly. Thank you. Senator Alma Frances Heyliger, you are recognized for your 4 minutes.
Good afternoon once again. Good afternoon to my colleagues. Good afternoon to the people of the territory, as well as the testifiers. Commissioner Evangelista, I want to ask, how are you? I want to ask a little bit about the boards. What is the status of many of the boards that are needed in order to get licensure?
I'm going to ask you to clarify your actual question, because I'm not sure exactly what you're seeking.
For example, I know there have been some concerns and issues with some of the boards, for example, for construction, electrical, plumbing, beauty license. What is the status of the various boards? Are they fully full? Do they have enough members? Is there any individuals still needed to be put on the boards in order for them to be fully functional? Along those lines.
Thank you very much for that question. I'm going to allow Assistant Commissioner Hodge to respond to you directly, but in general, due to the vacancies on boards, there may not be a quorum to act, or in some instances, like the construction board, there may not be membership at all. So I, by default, am forced to act like the board when I'm not the expert in the industry. So yes, there are vacancies, and pursuant to Senator, your colleague's request, we're going to submit the list of vacancies for the respective boards. But Assistant Commissioner Hodge cries to me every day, and we actually are on our way to fill in those positions. But it's been about 10 years until someone, Governor Bryan has actually worked diligently. Unfortunately, some people are still scared to go in front of the legislature. But as I complimented earlier, Senator Potter and your members of you and the 34th legislature have been gentle but respectful, and no one has complained thus far. Assistant Commissioner Hodge, if I may ask you to respond directly to Senator Alma Francis Heyliger. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Commissioner, and thank you, Senator, for that question. And Commissioner is correct in indicating that this governor has been working diligently in filling the boards. So as of recently, the Architect, Engineer, Land Surveyor board has been filled, I think with probably one position vacant. Social Workers board has been filled. And there's one more, CPA. CPA has been completely filled. However, the trades board still remain unvacant. And as I mentioned before, the trade board specifically, construction, plumbing, electrician, fiber optic, and HVAC mechanical. Those boards need membership. Recently, the governor and you, the Senate, approved Mr. Julio King. We thank you for that. But that construction board still has, I think, 6 other vacant positions.
So, quick question. I know the commissioner did share that. I know the commissioner did share that because it does not have individuals enough, for example, on the construction board, he by default has to make the decisions, and he's not an expert. Do you think that him having to do that is a disadvantage, or do you think that time-wise we're ultimately going to get the necessary people, at least in short order?
I think time-wise we're going to get the necessary people. The governor's office has sent down a nomination package to at least 3 additional contractors in the territory and additional tradesmen, specifically electricians. But we're going to still need more plumbers and HVAC mechanical contract, fiber optic. I don't have anybody named to those boards.
Okay, thank you. The Commissioner Evangelista, for example, over this period for COVID-19, I've noticed that some of your staff works outside of the licensing and consumer affairs. I actually had to utilize one of them, and I was given a phone number to call, and they were very effective in helping me over the phone and getting the issue resolved. Tell me a little bit about how that has been working for your agency.
Time.
Do you find it, Madam Chair, may I finish?
You may.
Thank you. Do you find that it is to your advantage or disadvantage? Because I've been trying to learn a little bit about some of the agencies with individuals who might have to work at home, and I did have an experience like that.
Sure. So I'm proud to say that the team members of DLCA, when we asked them to safely work from home, did not push back. We relocated them with a computer, internet access, and a cell phone, because I did not want the community to feel as if we were not working. So we were working remotely, we weren't physically in our office, but the team members were assigned a number that we could then forward to persons when the call came into a switchboard that is also transferred to a cell number. So the response time may have been slower because the cell phone does not have multiple lines. So some people may have been calling repeatedly, but our team members were responding, whether it's a consumer issue, a licensing issue, a boards and commissions issue, we were responding in real time, albeit maybe delayed to the community. So it worked.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that answer. Thank you, Madam Chair, for the indulgence.
You are most welcome.